Microdose, yeah. Microdose. Microdose. Microdose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose.
5, 4, 3, 2. Well, that's good, y'all. Kush Hayes here, coming to you with the newest edition of the Microdose. And it's one of my favorite times of the year. No, it's not WrestleMania. In fact, who wants to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for a third time in a row? That is awful. No, my favorite time of the year, it's a thing that just snuck up on me. I didn't even think that it would be a thing. It's the Unnamed Footage Festival. It's marking its 5th edition. And one of my favorite guests is here, old DVD box set herself, Madeleine Kostner. What's good, Madeleine?
Hey, happy to be here. And also incredibly disinterested in seeing Ronda Rousey wrestle at WrestleMania. So
she also won that Royal Rumble, didn't she?
It was so bad. Like for fans who love the wrestlers, to see her come out like 30th in the Rumble and just throw everybody out of the ring and get it, like what? And I mean, Brock did the same thing. It's like, come on, just yeah. I'm fed up with the WWE. Shouldn't have got me started on that. I could keep going.
Well, we'll have to have you back then for our WrestleMania podcast. I think in about a month.
Please.
Okay, good. Because I need to know everything. I'm so out of the loop. But like, I saw that tweet and it's like Roman Reigns and Brock. I was at the first one. It wasn't good. All right, like, I did not have a good time. Is maybe the worst thing about that show, but I digress. We're not talking WrestleMania umpteen number.
We're pointing at the Unnamed Footage Festival sign today.
The UFF sign is in full effect. We're getting our point on. That's coming up in 2 weeks at this point here.
Oh my god!
Holy cow! Number 5. So last year there was a huge obstacle in your path. There's a little thing called the COVID. You know, it came and went. No big deal. Whatever. We got through it. But
sure.
you guys innovated and you adapted and you went like, well, we love having it at the Balboa, but since it's closed, why don't we just do an online festival? And it would be without a doubt your biggest festival ever. Like now it's everyone outside of San Francisco got to be a part of it. Yeah. What is going to be different this year? What's going to stay the same? What's going to change?
So, I mean, we've expanded every single year. So I'm excited that like we have expanded yet again for year 5. In that same 4 days. So we start Thursday at the ATA, Artist Television Access in the Mission, for our opening night party, and which we are going to watch a absolutely crazy movie called Bad Ben 7 Haunted Highway. And then we are going to have a found footage horror power hour. Do you know what a power hour is?
From the description I read on this online, it sounds like just a mashup or a supercut.
So basically it is 60 minutes and every minute will be a clip from a found footage horror movie. And at the end of every clip, you have to drink.
Okay. And I understand that there's a beer sponsor involved in this one.
Yes, it is. God, are they Lime Ventures? I don't know. It's a guy up in the East Bay who's a buddy of ours and likes what we do. And he's like, yeah, take a pallet of beer. And so
a pallet of beer.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. Yeah. If you look on our website, there'll be a link to him, but he didn't even care about us naming him. I was insistent. I'm like, we need to put your name.
It would be good for publicity, but okay.
Yeah.
Are we talking like these European 8 ounces? Or are we talking full on 12 or 16 ounce glasses?
These are full 16 ounce cans of craft beer from the US and international.
All right. We're not chugging this. We're just taking a drink after each scene.
No,
right?
It's basically every scene you take a drink. And so you'll see the scene, and then at the end of the scene there'll be a little bumper. It'll say drink, and you all drink, and then the next scene starts. So that is your power hour. Yeah. It is a college game.
Yeah. It definitely sounds like you don't want to drink at all during Bad Ben 7.
I mean, our hope is that people loosen up during Bad Ben, and then the power hour is just so I also run a club. So I live in Astoria, Queens, New York.
Yeah.
So I used to live in San Francisco. When we started the festival, I lived in San Francisco, but I'm a New Yorker. I moved back to New York. Now I live in Queens. And I am one of the co-founders of the Astoria Horror Club.
Oh,
So
cool.
we meet the first and third Monday of every month at a bar in Astoria called Heart of Gold.
Mhm.
Wonderful beer bar with like a beer garden in the back, and we project a horror movie.
Mhm.
And so we did a big Astoria Horror Club Halloween party, and that was kind of where this idea came from because we
Mhm.
did a power hour for that party,
Yeah.
and it was maybe the most fun experience of my life. Because
Okay.
it was just everybody was so excited. A clip would come on, people would recognize it,
Mhm.
and there was cheering and clapping, and like there were wrestling chants.
Oh, neat.
So, have you ever seen the movie Cube?
It's if I have, it's been in decades, but I know of it.
Okay, well, yeah, the opening of Cube is its own little, like scene that's removed from the rest of the story, in which a
Mhm.
guy gets chopped up into little bits
Okay,
by lasers.
I've seen
And
that
so
scene.
that was one of the clips in the power hour. And when it happened, the entire room, which was like 40 or 50 people, and we were
Mhm.
all drunk and holding beers, we all started chanting, cubed, 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 cubed. And like it's basically like the energy of a wrestling show, but just
Okay,
people watching movie clips. Yeah.
great.
So that's what I'm hoping to recreate at ATA
Are
is
these
like
scenes
that
30 seconds
experience.
long? Are they a full minute,
1
2 minutes,
minute. Yeah.
1 minute?
Yep.
So you
It'll
can
be
expect at least 60 shots.
61 minutes. Yeah, 61-minute scenes. Yeah. And one swig of beer every minute.
You might want to put this before Bad Ben 7.
Oh no.
No?
We
Okay.
want to put it
Okay.
after.
You guys are the professionals
Because
here. This.
if we put Bad Ben after, I think people would fall asleep.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Not because the movie's no, not because it's boring or anything. It's
Mhm.
batshit, but I'm
Mhm.
afraid people will be too drunk and they'll be too tired for a movie.
Fair enough. Fair
No,
enough.
Bad
What?
Ben is batshit. So that's kind of our primer to get everybody
Mhm.
like loosened up and in the mood for having fun. And then the power hour is the party. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because Bad Ben is insane. There are 9 Bad Ben movies, all made
Mhm.
by this one guy, Nigel Bach. And he's
Mhm.
just this bumbling old dude in middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, I think.
Mhm.
And he keeps making movies in his house. These little found footage horror movies that are just him and his
Mhm.
house. And this one, he becomes a like a shared ride service driver. So it's not
Good.
Lyft or Uber, but some made up thing.
Generic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always him picking up people, and they're all asking to go to his house. They're all asking to go to his house, and then he meets monsters. It's batshit insane. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How many found footage movies are there a year? Because you guys are playing
Oh
all
my
the new
God.
shit, but then there's like stuff like, yeah, this is from 2002. It finally
Mhm.
made its way into the rotation. We got it in there. Like, what's yeah.
Yeah. We try to keep a good mix of what we call our repertory screenings versus our main slate screenings, which I stole that term from the New York Film Festival, and I thought it was very funny to like take a prestigious film fest and then
Mhm.
call our selections the same thing that they call. So our main
Right.
slate. I
Mhm.
believe we've got like 12 or 13 new films that are
Mhm.
eligible for awards, and then like 6 like older movies that we've
Mhm.
programmed. And then Friday night, so following that Thursday at ATA, we'll be at the Roxy watching one of the older movies, which is a film called Base.
Okay.
Um, so that is the 18th at the Big Roxy Theater,
Mhm.
much bigger than the Little Roxy. And but
Mhm.
Base is 4 or 5 years old and is a found footage, not exactly horror movie, but more like in the faux doc realm, about a guy who's a base jumper
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
him. Yeah, and so it's all like GoPro footage that they are shooting while
Mhm.
actually base jumping. So they crafted a narrative and used the real base jumps as sort of the like kind of basis and the conflict and all that. And I think watching it on a giant screen is going to be terrifying.
Okay.
Yeah, so not a horror movie, but oh boy, is it tense. Yeah. This is the kind of movie where the fear comes from standing at the edge of the cliff and looking over.
Oh, okay. So if you have a fear of heights, as I do, this is going to be awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So seeing on the big screen somebody basically just jumping out of a plane, and from their own point of view. Oh yeah, it's gonna be tense.
I'll bring some napkins or extra bandanas to like crumple in my hands because there will be mad
and you
sweaty
can sit
palms.
all the way at the back. All the way at the back of the big Roxy. Oh, he'll be okay.
Okay. So we get into Saturday and Sunday at the old Balboa Theater, and I don't have everything here on my list, but one of my favorite things that I missed last year, the last year's festival was an endurance. What was supposed to be 24 hours turned into 30 hours. And I slept through about 5 of those, but the difference between that festival and the previous 3 years before that is the very last film, Saturday night. Like that might not be the big one you guys are pushing, like that might not be the most popular one, but collectively everybody in that auditorium has the best time during the last one. For UF 3, it was the Enchanted Haunted Porno magazine, but I remember just like tears streaming down my face during UF 2 when you guys got your copy of La Llorona, not the Conjuring version of it, not whatever Redbox was publishing, but like it's there's continuity issues and sometimes the audio is off, and then there's a woman in it as there should be, but she's mainly a prop during most of the film, but then finally she gets her time to shine and she's just going off on them, just red lashing them with her tongue, and people are just like, that is one of the best cinematic experiences I've had. It looks like something called the Zand Order is taking that spot this year. What do you know about that?
So the Zand Order is an absolute blast. So we go out of our way to not be ironic. So we never show any of these movies for like irony or to laugh at them. We show them because in found footage horror, you stumble across these filmmakers who just don't know the rules of cinema. And they are like, we want to make a movie. I want to make a movie. I've got no budget. I've got an idea. If we shoot it found footage horror style, we can make it work, because all we have to do is get a bunch of women together and get one tent and then go out into the woods and pack all of them into one tent and to then have them do bizarre puzzle / rituals with a lot of bugs. And so it is no rules, no budget, no fucks given filmmaking. It's an absolute blast. It's like the Blair Witch meets the Descent, in that it's a group of women going into the woods together instead of a cave. But there's clearly something haunted there, and they all fucking hate each other. So I think that it's gonna be the good time that you're looking for.
Oh, but that's the Zand Order. Lots of half-naked women in a tent solving puzzles with bugs. Okay, I'm in.
Well, I don't think they're half naked, but
are they full naked?
I think they're fully clothed.
Oh, well, that'll be fun too. All right.
Oh, I'm laughing. I like that. Also, directed by a woman, which is pretty cool. So that because I'd say of the submissions we get, it's like we'll get 50 submissions and 2 of them will be female directed. So it always excites me when we can actually like showcase one of those female directors. So I'm very excited for Zand Order. Again, I think people are going to be hooting, hollering, loving it.
Last year, my favorite movie out of last year was I Blame Society, and we ended up having Jillian Wallace Horvat on, and she's complicated. So
she's so interesting. I find her absolutely fascinating and very funny and very blunt, which I love in person. Yeah.
I asked her, I was like, so, the character's named after you. It's a composite of you. It's an exaggeration of you, but also your best friend plays your best friend. So, and you murder your best friend. So at any point they go like, "Geez, Jillian, I don't know. I'm not 100% comfortable." And she's like, "No, I think they know they were in a movie." I was like, "That's not what I'm like." I had to backpedal. I think I ended up cutting it, but I put it in the best of on New Year's, and it's just like, I don't know. I swore I explained that better, but that was the response. It's like, no, they knew they were in a movie. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's like they knew I wasn't going to murder them. I was like, I mean, all right, but you're pretty convincing. What the Curse of Aurora, the Outwaters? What do we know about these? Is one going to be better than the other?
Well, that is
That's subjective.
personal choice. Yeah, exactly. It's whatever you like. So Curse of Aurora is a movie shot in Montreal. I believe it's Canada. I don't think it's Montreal. I think it's like middle of nowhere, backwoods Canada. But it's definitely like the French part. And it's 3 filmmakers who go to investigate the legend, like the vanishing of a girl. And of course, things go horribly wrong. Aurora is really a sweet movie. I actually quite like it because it kind of saves the horror for the last act. And the first 2 acts are really like learning the legend, getting to know these characters, seeing them kind of play in the snow, and like it's really nice. It's really fun. The filmmakers are going to be there to do a Q&A. So I think that'll be like it's heartwarming until it's terrifying at the end. Yeah. So that one should be a really good time. And then the Outwaters, which is at 9 p.m. on Saturday. So it's 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. So like that's the slot where we're hoping the theater is full. So it is the theatrical premiere of the Outwaters, which was made by a Austin-based filmmaker named Robbie Banfitch, who I think is a crazy genius. So this is a guy who he's got the background, like he's got the training, but has not really like I don't think he knows the studio system. Like I don't think he knows sort of, again, the rules. And so he created his own rules and made this absolutely insane, fascinating, weird, scary film called The Outwaters. So he plays the main character. And he is going with a small crew to shoot a music video in the Mojave Desert. So him and his group are camping and shooting a video in the Mojave Desert. And so the first act of the movie is kind of them doing the music video, lots of beautiful shots, them meeting people, them traveling through different spaces, road tripping. And then it is almost like the movie falls through a black hole. And gets indescribable, otherworldly. I don't want to call it Lovecraftian because it doesn't totally feel Lovecraftian, but it's very hard to describe like the type of horror without dropping, the shithead H.P. Lovecraft. But I love The Outwaters so much. I love the music. I love how it looks. And we're actually opening that with a short film called Backrooms by Kane Pixels. So Kane Pixels is a 16-year-old kid who made this 10-minute kind of creepypasta YouTube video about like liminal spaces. So like offices that just like go on and on and on forever. And I saw this movie like very, very early on. So he just uploaded it. A friend of mine is like, "Oh, you like this? Check this out." So I watched it. I'm like, "Wow, that was amazing." So he had his email like on his page. I grabbed his email, sent him an email. I'm like, "Hey, submit it to our film festival." And then he did. And then 5 days later, it went mega viral. 18 million people have watched this.
Oh, wow.
But it's never been shown in a theater before.
Okay.
So we're going to show Backrooms, and then we're going to show The Outwaters, and Robbie Banfitch will be there in person, I think, with maybe some members of the cast and crew to do a Q&A, which I think... so the truth is, I think Robbie recently became single and is looking for a boyfriend. So we might do some speed dating. We're not sure yet. But the idea has been floated.
All right. Well, folks, if you're in San Francisco on Saturday, March what, 18th?
March
20th.
19th, Saturday the
March 19th. And
Yeah.
and you like the fellas, you should come to the speed dating session at 5.
That, and it's just 2 fantastic movies. Real weird shit though. Gotta warn you, it's weird.
All right. Sunday, same location at the Balboa. I haven't been to the Balboa probably since the last UFF or UFF 3, so I'm looking forward to getting back into there again. But we got Wessons. Is that?
Yes, Wessons.
What's up with Wessons?
Is from it's South African. It is one of our few science fiction selections. So Wessons is a faux documentary that is set in the late 60s about a group of, I think, government hired sort of investigators who get called in when a strange object crashes on a farm.
Okay.
Yeah, in like the middle of nowhere, South Africa. And it gets very existential. They did a really good job like making it look like 8 and 16 millimeter. They're really shooting on film cameras. You've got your guys in hazmat suits. There's a weird alien object. And it's also like kind of like a slow burn, really like gives you the space to think about existence. But absolutely beautiful movie. That's the US premiere. It's never been shown in the US before. So yeah, I think that's another one where it's not as exciting as some of the crazy shit we're showing, but it's the kind of movie that you will find yourself thinking about, especially in the context of like South Africa and like just people being allowed to live and exist for days. Like it will be stuck in your head. It's a really beautiful movie.
When I write my notes, I don't write down everything, so I've skimmed everything. I went over like this sounds interesting, but I don't. A lot of it, I'm also just trying to remember the poster as well.
We're riffing. I have no idea what I'm saying. I've had 3 glasses of wine.
You're doing great, kid. You're doing great.
Oh, I'm having the time of my life, man. I love this podcast.
We love having you on here. Putrefaction.
Oh my God, this was the last movie that we accepted into the film fest.
Shit.
This one came in like days before submissions closed, and we thought we had the schedule, and then this movie shows up in our inbox, and holy fuck, it is the first full-length feature film shot entirely on 360 cameras.
Yeah.
And it is a young girl in Mexico City who really wants to go to film school. And she is a dancer and an artist, and she started documenting her life with a 360 camera that she has purchased, sort of to be the thing she makes art through, to be her video diary. And while documenting herself dancing, doing drugs with her friends, something strange starts to creep in. And so it's a mix of a possession movie and just a movie about a girl who wants to make her art, who's being told by a bunch of, snobby like teacher artists who think art is the only is what they make and nothing else, that she's like not making valid art. Which is its own horror in itself. It is a intensely feminine movie. The main character, she dances through quite a bit of it. She's always on screen. She is working the camera, and the movie is made of her energy. And she has an incredible energy. I looked her up immediately after watching it. She's a model and artist in real life, and just like she's just a force on the screen. And shooting Mexico City, which is already such a fascinating textured place on a 360 camera, it's just it's incredible. Yeah, I'm in love with this movie. Yeah, so we watched that and we're like, okay, we need to rearrange the schedule.
Oh, far out. Okay.
Yeah, we had to bump something to the virtual fest, which we are having another virtual fest to make room for it. I will not say what got bumped.
Okay. We'll get to the virtual fest in a second here. What is it about Mexico and Japan that seem to be producing the most intense found footage films? Is it just like, oh, this is another language, but or it's I feel like it's deeper than that. Okay, because like there was like La Possession. There was something at. I feel like I've seen 2 films in an insane asylum, and then I don't remember the goddamn name, but that the Japanese movie where like the witch was eating aborted fetus. Yes,
Noroi. Yeah, that's
Noroi.
Noroi. I knew you were gonna say Noroi. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I know that a lot of incredible horror has been coming from Mexico in the last 5 to 10 years. And I do think it has a lot to do like culturally, just like with their myths, with how they view death and like all that. I don't know. I can't speak. I'm not Mexican. But I love the film, like the cinema coming out of Mexico, and a lot of the Mexico City based filmmakers. And there's this fantastic film festival in Mexico City called Morbido, and I've wanted to go to it since I learned about it. So yeah, I think it's just the type of storytelling lends itself to the genre really well, and just to horror in general. And Japan, I think there's something with faux reality that really interests Japanese artists. And I think it might have something to do with just the bizarreness of life. And the way that, I mean, you could say that about anyone. Like, I don't think life being bizarre is unique to the Japanese, but maybe the way that they discuss it, they're more open to like talking about like surreal stuff and all that through art. But I love Japanese found footage. Yeah, I love
and they're
the
not
found
all
footage
home runs. They're movies like anything
but you could
else.
say that about every place.
Everything, and we normally do, and that's what's good about the UFF is like eventually just like, no, this is now just this movie. All right, no, the last movie was way better. Hopefully the next movie after this will be better. I forget the director's name, but the guy who directed Noroi, you showed another movie of his immediately after that one, and it was literally heads and tails. I was like, I love Noroi. Whatever that other thing was, that was some bullshit, and I hated it, all of it. And there was a hostage situation, and then like I hated that shit.
A record of sweet murder. Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. It's so weird and stagey and like
very weird,
bizarrely perverted.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's Koji Shirashi. Yeah. But he's made dozens of found footage horror films. He's made a whole like series of found footage horror, and then a whole bunch of like one-off movies. And he also has worked in like pornographic stuff. So I think that sometimes his work, the 2 things he works in kind of bleed together a little bit.
Making sense now.
Yeah.
Malibu Horror Story, Alien Report. We close the festival with My Inner Demon. Which one do you want to promote the most? They all looked and or sounded fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Malibu Horror Story a bit. So Malibu Horror Story was also one that came to us late. Supposedly the guy who made it has been working on it since like 2012. I don't know if any of it was shot back then, but I know that is when the concept started to develop, and that they shot it on like over 30 different cameras with different formats, different codecs. So like the technical aspect of Malibu Horror Story is just like crazy. It's just like a mishmash of different looking footage, and like I love that stuff. Like I love when a movie is a collage like that. But the movie itself is honestly one of our most straightforward like horror movies. It's such a crowd pleaser, and it is also hybrid. So we've introduced hybrid found footage as one of our subgenres this year, which basically is movies that are like a portion is found footage horror or faux doc, and a portion is like more traditional narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So Malibu Horror Story starts as a traditional horror narrative, shot in the third person. And it is a film crew who are making a documentary of the disappearance of some teens. And they've gone to the cave where they disappeared. And they're kind of celebrating, like rapping on the shoot. They've done their seance and tried to find the spirits, and they've gotten all their footage and they've edited it, and they sit down to do one last pass on the edit. And as they are reviewing the footage and the movie that they cut together, they start to notice things that they hadn't seen before. And so the found footage aspect is the movie that they made, and then the rest is your third person narrative. And it's such a horror movie. Like, it's such a exactly what you want when you're like, I want to go to the movies, I want to sit with a big crowd of people, and I want to like be on the edge of my seat and like like scream a couple times and laugh like with these people, like I like after I got scared, like it's absolute crowd pleaser. Then Alien Report is bonkers. It is the video diaries of a young man who's been he's basically been abducted over and over again for his whole life, and he's come up with a way to hide cameras on his body and shoot his own abductions. And so the movie is the footage of his abductions. And I put in the synopsis that like it is the craziest alien special effects since Fire in the Sky. And like it's like a low budget film footage horror movie, and it's like faux doc, more sci-fi leaning. But the way that the aliens look, they have no right to look as good as they look. Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, and the filmmakers will be there for that as well. And they'll be there. We'll have filmmakers for Malibu Horror Story, filmmakers for Alien Report. Over half of our screenings, the talent will be there for Q&A. And the vibe of our fest. They'll always want to hang out and talk to people afterwards. So
for sure.
Yeah. And Leslie, my inner demon, were you there for Murder Box at F2?
I believe I was. That was.
So it's the sequel.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, it is. This is our first.
But I don't remember anything about Murder
Box alone. It was the closer of F2, so we again gave him the closer of F5. And Murder Box was just real funny. It was such a small movie. It had a lot of clumsiness in it. But it really was like we fell in love with the guy, Gerald Varga, who made it, and the character that he plays, Gerald Geraldson, who is a serial killer who does stand-up comedy. And so we were just so in love with him that, we felt Murder Box stood on its own. And as a follow-up to that, he made another found footage horror movie in which he plays himself, Gerald Varga, and he's sort of reacting to the reception of Murder Box and all the time he spent playing Gerald Geraldson. And he wants to make another movie, and he's trying to figure out how to do it while dealing with some depression, like a history of alcoholism. I think he had a cancer scare. And so he's coming in with a lot, and then trying to make a movie, and some of the bad things start creeping in. It's really fun. Honestly, like he's improved so much as a filmmaker. Like Murder Box is a blast, but it's like, an oddity. This is a movie. He made a real good movie. We were just so impressed. And again, we're like, we were thinking, oh, we love Gerald. If it's as good as Murder Box, we'll show it maybe in the virtual. And we watched it and we're like, no, this fucking rules. Like he really learned, like he taught himself from his first film how to make a good fucking movie. And we're like, we're letting him close out the fest. Like we
Oh,
want
far
people
out.
to see this, and he'll be there. And he's just such a sweetheart. I love that guy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is this the movie that people cannot miss at the actual festival, or did we miss something? What Madeleine Kostner DVD box set? What is the movie
So
people cannot miss?
I can't, but um, it's the Outwaters.
Okay, hey, that's the honest answer.
I mean, that's like for me, it's the theatrical premiere. No one's seen it in the theater before. He's a new filmmaker.
Hmm.
It just felt like such a discovery when we saw it. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, I'm really excited about so many of these movies. So I'm going to say the whole festival you can't miss. Um,
Fair
oh
enough.
wait, or can we talk about my dream screening that I snuck in,
Please.
which is it's Bolt Driver and Craig
Hmm.
Fixida America.
I have both of those on my list here.
So that is a double feature of kind of like longer short films. So Bolt Driver is 45 minutes, and then Craig Fixed America is like a 22-minute like comedy special kind of.
Okay.
So the story behind that is back in like early 2010s, I stumbled across this video on Funny or Die called Clip Cup, which was a fake clip show
Okay.
hosted by a guy named Craig Healy,
Mhm.
who in the world of the clip show was a international superstar, just like one of the most famous people, and his clip show was incredibly popular. And it's just terrible. And I think like that's the joke. The joke is that it's incredibly fucking unfunny and cringy.
Okay.
And he talks in this like stupid voice. Like not it's not a stupid voice, but like he puts like a duh on the end of like every word. So like Craig Fix It America. Like he talks like that.
Okay.
and it was just like the dumbest thing, and it made me laugh so hard. And then they made three more, so there's four clip cups, and it just treats it like he's more and more famous. Like now he's doing like guest specials on like other sitcoms. There's movies that he's in. He's got an album and music videos, and he's got a book out. There's QR codes flying all over the screen. And then
Okay.
they just kept making Craig Healy stuff. So they made a fake like drama called Complicated, and then in 2019, they made Craig Fixed America, which is a political satire show that is just incredibly unfunny, but like incredibly funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
well, it's sort of anti-humor leaning. But then last year, the guy who plays Craig Healy, who is a writer, director, comedian, named Nick Coriosi
Hmm.
or Corey Rossi, I think. I don't know. I know him as Craig Healy, honestly. Um,
Fair enough.
he starred in this really weird shot on iPhone movie that was just obviously a Taxi Driver remake without being a Taxi Driver remake, taking place during the Trump administration.
Oh.
And it's basically if Travis Bickle, instead of driving a taxi, drove a Lyft. And got sucked into a Trump campaign
Oh
like
no.
center. Yeah, but most of it is told through his iPhone, where he is kind of making Snapchat stories and
Hmm.
recording like things that he's doing, like going to a porn convention and like filming himself in the car. um and it's just so good, and it's like we try not to get too political, but I kind of
Hmm.
snuck this in.
Okay.
But it's just I mean, it really is like such a wonderful criticism of Trumpism,
Hmm.
and like incel culture,
Yeah.
and then pairing it with the political satire, which is like making fun of most of the way that people tried to criticize Trump, which was like mostly dumb and like, oh, he's ugly, like it's just mocking that.
Right.
Yeah, so I've wanted to do a Craig Healy thing like since day one. And so getting to do the screening is like a dream for me. So
Okay.
other than everything else, which is amazing, we got great movies. Like that is the one I'm like, if you're not sure about horror, if you're not sure about weird, if you don't have the stamina, like come check out Bolt Driver and Craig.
So we've been talking about the entire festival through all the actual physical theaters, the all access pass, which gets you every screening from Thursday to the end of Sunday is $75. A day pass for Saturday and Sunday will cost you $40 a pop. Single films, $15. No big deal.
Yeah.
Same as everywhere else. Now, let's talk about the online portion of this. I have no details about this. I'm super curious. How does this work? Break it down, Madeleine Kostner.
Well, we're always just stumbling our way through this stuff. We have a very, very small team. It's like 4 of us and like 3 or 4 volunteers, and
you guys are making up the rules as you go along. Okay, it's an exciting process.
So mid-April, we're going to do another live stream film festival. So this one will not be over 24 hours. It will be probably 12. I'm insisting, but of course we keep finding movies that we want to show, and oh man, we got such good submissions this year. We have never gotten submissions this good. This has been the hardest year of doing it, just because this is the first time that we couldn't fit in everything that we wanted to see on the big screen.
Oh, fascinating.
So that was part of the motivation of doing the online. Also, just the response last year was so big, and so many people wanted us to do it again, because for as much as they love what we're doing, they love us, a lot of people aren't going to travel out to San Francisco.
No.
And we don't want to leave those people out after like bringing them into the fold last year. So we're going to do another virtual fest in April, structured the same. It'll be live streamed, hosted, and we've already got the program together, and it's a banger.
Any repeats from the physical theater features?
Nope,
make it into this?
No.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it is honestly all movies that we wanted to show in the Balboa, and just we only have 2 days. So they're not lesser movies, honestly. Like it wasn't like, oh, this isn't as good. We really curated it by thinking like, will this play better in a theater? Like how will people see this, experience it in a theater, versus like, do we want to blast this movie out to as many people as possible? And like, how will this communicate on a computer screen? So that was really how we came to the programming. And like there were a couple of things where the debate was hard, because it's like, man, I love this movie so much, I really want to watch it on the big screen, but also we want 1,000 people to see this and have the chat going, and we just think the reaction is going to be so huge to it. So it's like one of my favorite movies of the festival, and we're only showing it virtually. But yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the announcement until we're ready to do them all.
All right, we'll have to have you back on in a couple weeks then, and we'll talk about.
Oh hell yeah, anytime.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube footage this past 2 years. Coming up, St. Patrick's Day will have been 2 years since San Francisco's been in a lockdown. I don't know how New York, New Jersey's been doing over there. There's days before or days after, but you get the gist. Anyways, there's a lot of weird stuff out there, and there's only like 3 channels now that like I want to repeatedly go back to. There's one guy who goes, and he talks like this, and this is his cadence, and isn't this weird? Could this be a shadow person? I don't know. It's exhausting, despite whatever it is he's featuring. A lot of stuff I'm definitely debunking. Like, no, that's you're in an abandoned insane asylum, and that's just a hobo squatting. That's not a demon. It's you. Why did you also go in after dark? Are you looking at any of these things, Madeleine Kostner, or is this just something that I just picked up on?
Oh, you mean like the crazy YouTube stuff?
Like, so there's King Frostmare. He does like top 5, and some of his stuff is.
Oh, I love this shit. Yeah,
he's funny.
I mean, I would say like
he's got the funny voice too. Like, oh yeah, maybe we've got a shadow person over here. What do you think? Like and subscribe to my videos.
Have you seen any of the luxury dark stuff? Because that's my like guilty pleasure.
I don't know that. No.
Oh my God, my dream. This is one that I think all of the F programmers share is we want to do a luxury dark showcase.
Okay.
Because so these two guys in Buffalo, New York, and they're young. They're like early 20s, I think. They started a channel called Life of Luxury doing like really, really, really offensively bad prank videos. Like faked Catch a Predator type stuff, like just really bad. And they just kept getting kicked off YouTube. And then out of the blue, they pivoted to doing found footage horror. But they never say it's found footage horror. They're like, this is a real investigation. We got a call, we went, we looked into it. And they're they're so dumb and so funny. And they have been doing such incredible world building. And I'm like addicted. Like they did one. So my favorite series they do is the We Bought a Blank on the dark web.
Oh.
And they
I
did
think
one
I feel like I've seen those. If not, that is definitely a genre.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so they did one that was like we bought a parasite on the dark web.
Oh no.
And like the parasite of course gets into one of them, and then like they have to go to like the other guy was like, we got to get you to the hospital, we got to get you to a doctor. He's like, I don't have health insurance.
Oh,
You got to take me to my doctor. And they wind up in this like guy's basement, and the guy's in his underwear and eating like a can of beans, and his name is Dr. Mumley, and it just escalates. And I've watched it like 7 times, and it's half an hour long. Just the level of like almost accidental world building that these guys are doing. So yeah, I mean, I think that they look when they started, they were just like really young and immature, and now they're actually like developing a style, and it's just so stupid. I love them. So yeah, we want to show them at UF one day. But yeah, no, I love YouTube, but I mostly watch like wordless Korean street food videos. It's just like people making hot dogs. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's a whole other genre.
Yeah, that's my like go-to. Just like sit on the couch in complete silence and just watch somebody like wrap dough around a hot dog and put it into a fryer and then like cover it in 8 different sauces. Yeah, that's my that's my thing.
All right. Not even a thing I would have thought would have been a thing on YouTube. Nope. Fascinating.
Oh man, it's a great. There's a whole genre. Like there's this whole like universe of street food videos. Your eyes will be opened.
My eyes are already open. All right. So, do you know how much the virtual UFF will be in April?
We have not decided yet, although we are going to up the cost from last year. Last year was a bit of an experiment, and so I think it'll be a little bit more expensive, but we're not going to price people out. It will be it will be a steal for the number of films that we'll be showing, but it will be more than $10. So
I feel like that's
I imagine it'll be less than 40, more than 10, somewhere. We're trying to do the costs and figure out how we can break even.
I remember last year as the film footage festival is going on, again $10, but you know I'm looking at reactions on Facebook and we're like, man, I really wish I started that from the beginning. I was like, yo, we're only like 5 hours in. It's $10. You're gonna be okay. You've missed some stuff, but you ain't missed everything. And there was like, I have no investment in this. Okay, I'm just a fan. But there was like heavy negotiation of like, hey, it's you can give that $10 to Film Freeway. It's going to be all right.
Yeah,
they take Visa, MasterCard, Amex.
That's the cost of the rental of a single new movie. Yeah, and we gave people like 30 hours of movies and short films, and Vernon Herman Salinger, our retired 70s stand-up comedian who hosted the event for us.
Is he coming
Yeah,
back to
so
the physical theater?
oh, he's dead. He died
He's
at the
dead.
end.
That's
If you don't, yeah, he
I don't
died. He
remember.
dropped dead. Guy had a heart
Oh.
attack right on the set. It was horrifying. I mean, there were 3 ambulances outside.
Can
Really
we wheel him
awful way
back
to end the
in?
night.
He
Yeah,
might be a little
thankfully I
shaky.
had I had already cut together the in memoriam, as we kind of anticipated it might happen after looking at his lifestyle and like, plugging it into a few models. It's like, oh, this guy, he ain't long. So yeah, we had his in memoriam ready to go. So for the viewers, it was seamless. For us, it was a deeply tragic, traumatizing experience to watch the death of an old man.
You made it work. You made it work. So, folks, if you're in the San Francisco, not even the San Francisco Bay Area, if you're in San Francisco proper, March 17th, that's St. Patrick's Day. Or if you're not and you want to come out for a visit, do that. The UFF5
I
is
mean,
going to
that's
be a
also
thing.
why ATA is going to be such a drunk party, is because it's St. Patty's Day. That's the
Oh, great point. Very great point. So again, we didn't have this luxury 2 years ago. Everything's open. Make this don't be a FOMO or whatever that phrase is that I don't understand because I'm in my 40s now. But all access
I like
tickets.
that. I'm going to start saying that. Don't be a FOMO.
Don't be a FOMO. All right. Don't feel like you missed out on whatever the experience is. All access tickets, $75. Day passes, $40 a piece. Single films, $15, which isn't anything unusual. You will have a great time. This is a great film festival. I wish we could talk more about Madeleine Kostner, but I don't want to chew your ear off. We are on different time zones, so it's getting late. But is there anything you want to promote extra?
Oof, I don't know. I guess
honest.
the film festival. The film festival, Astoria Horror Club. I am DVDBoxSet on all social media. I've worked on a movie at the end of last year, which was a found footage horror movie called Mean Spirited. That should come out probably sometime by the end of this year. So like whenever you see a movie called Mean Spirited, check it out. I did effects on that. I'm actually working on another movie at the end of this week. If you see behind me, there's this giant human-sized anthill that I've been building.
But that is terrifying.
But
that's big. That's big for an anthill.
Yeah, it's a prop for the movie. That's called Grieve. I know he did an Indiegogo, like he did crowdfunding, but I think that's closed now. But if he does another, I'll shoot you the link. But I have a really good feeling about this movie. So yeah, look for Grieve by director Robert Smith in the future.
There you go. Otherwise, you guys know what I do. We do the Waffle Box podcast every Wednesday. It's the best part of Wednesdays. Me and Mike Fish, friend of the family, we talk about everything and nothing at all. Otherwise, this past Tuesday, me and director Len Kabazinski, we released the Kick-Ass Movie Podcast number 8. It's Avenging Force. You're going to like it. It's a good movie. I promise you. It's going to be okay. Otherwise, you're listening to the Waffle Box. There's nothing else coming out. So, for DVD box set, Madeleine Kostner, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the BosNet family.
I don't think they're half naked, but
Are they full naked?